Follow this 6-part series where I'm going to show you how to become a successful reseller. If you're looking to get into reselling, you're definitely going to want to follow this series, as I'm going to go step by step on who you should follow, how to approach the thrift store and find items, how to photo items, how to go about shipping, how to choose the storage that's going to be best for your business, and lastly, how to go about learning more along your reselling business. You're going to want to follow these 6 videos at least to get you started on your reselling business. Any questions you have along the way, drop them in the comments and I will absolutely get to them. Everybody who's a reseller online, it's just free education, free information, free game for you to learn how to do it yourself. So first, you want to identify who you want to follow. If you are looking to get into estate sale, cool finds that are expired or vintage, like toys or things like that, I would definitely follow Tuition Ain't Cheap. She is the best at expired, like deodorant that sells for $80 that you can buy for 50 cents at an estate sale. If you're looking to sell men's clothing, then I definitely recommend following Surf's Up Finds. He's definitely one of the guys who got me into understanding the ins and out of the business for sure. I would also follow K-Way. I think it's K-Way Shop. Is an expert in the field and definitely taught me a ton of stuff. You're also gonna wanna follow Chris at Peaks. He's a reseller that focuses a ton on blazers as well as all the other stuff, but his specialty, in my opinion, would be informing resellers about blazers that you wouldn't typically pick up. If you're looking for women's clothing, I definitely recommend Mellow State. She also sells on Whatnot a ton. If you're looking at random odds and ends from garage sales and things like that, I think it's the Thrifted Bearder or something like that. I'm gonna put, again, I'll throw it up here. He's one of the OGs as well. I'm not sure what happened with my audio here, but Thrifting Treasures, he has A1 production and he's a garage seller. Content loaded on his channel that you can go through the past couple years. For someone who's doing men's clothing part-time, it's your boy. If you're looking for somebody that's doing that and about to build a 6-figure business, Lord willing, these next 6 months, like, I would follow Bo. Another good men's clothing seller is Sold for More. He definitely puts out great content, is gonna give you bolos, gonna give you interesting things to look out for, things to think about in your reselling journey. If you're into the more high-end purses or wallets, gear, stuff like that, then I would go follow Bougie Buys. Also, you can go look at her Poshmark closet. She has a ton of stuff. If you're low in inventory, she has reseller boxes literally available for purchase. So Selling Southern would be a good one to follow for clothing as well. Cougar's Corner is the most profitable reseller that I have seen selling clothing that I sell. Basically sell the same thing, but he's obviously doing it on a higher level. He has $10,000 months, $20,000 months. Go follow him. That dude is freaking crushing it. Basically gonna tell you everything I'm gonna tell you, but he's way better. So go follow him. Don't even follow me. Forget what I said earlier. Desert Picks LV. Also, he's gonna be hooking you up at the garage sales. This guy finds all types of stuff. He also does a ton of men's clothing as well. So that's definitely worth a follow if you're looking for men's clothing or if you want to go to garage sales and see some things that you should maybe keep an eye out for. Oh, speaking of garage sales and those types of things, J-Ride Flips, I think is his name or something like that. Again, I'll post it up here. He definitely put me on to digital cameras, remotes, all of those types of things to be looking out for. Glasses. I never would have even investigated that avenue if it wasn't for him, so shout out to him for that. Milky Flips also sells a ton of men's clothing as well if you're looking to get into the men's clothing. He has a ton of bolos to be on the lookout for. Another good women's clothing seller and also children's clothing seller is Ginger Marvin. I think that's her name. She has built a very successful reselling business for herself. And there's so many other resellers that I'm missing out on, so I apologize if I missed you and you're putting out heavy content, but if it's any consolation, I only have 3,000 followers. Only 20 people are gonna see this video. Follow for the rest of this series and more reseller tips like this. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay. Welcome back to part 2 of Reseller 101, how to be a successful reseller. I have built nearly a 6-figure business during my lunch breaks, running to thrift stores and finding things to resell. I'm gonna teach you exactly how to do that in this series. And today is day 2. What you're gonna learn is how to approach the thrift stores. And here's how to know what you should pick up in your thrift store. Step 1, ignore the entire thrift store. You're gonna pick one aisle, one section. You're gonna master one type of thing inside the thrift store, whether that's men's pants, women's dresses, pots and pans. And you're gonna learn everything about that one section. That way in that one section, you'll be that much faster so that when you come across something of value, you'll be able to make that choice instantly to pick that up or to pass. The best part is it doesn't matter what you already know because you're gonna learn everything about whatever section you choose. Literally the way I got into selling men's clothing was I would walk down the sweater aisle and I would go like this, trying to feel cashmere, which is an awful way to thrift store shop in order to make money. But that's not what I'm recommending to you. What I recommend to you is, say the first day you go and you say, I'm gonna master men's shorts. So you're gonna go through every single pair of shorts here in the men's section and look up every single brand that you don't know if it has value. If you're just getting started, that's gonna be most of them. That's okay. You're gonna look them up and see, once you look up J. Crew and once you look up Gap, you'll realize that most of these for $5 are not going to be worth your, or $7 are not going to be worth your time to pick them up because they're only going to sell for $15, and that's not the kind of return that you're looking for. So then you're just going to keep looking. You're going to learn everything you can about every single brand here. Now you may be wondering, how are you going to know what is worth picking up and what is not picking up? Because you're going to look up every single brand, every single style here. It's going to take you a long time. That's the reason you're only going to stay in one section, because you're literally going to look up every single style that you come across in this section until instantly what is worth picking up and what is not. So you're going to literally open it up. You're going to see Izod, XFG. Izod, you're going to come here. Izod XFG shorts. It filled in for me right there. You're going to click filter, condition, pre-owned. There are 750 pre-owned Izod XFG shorts. Then you're going to click sold. There are 50 that have sold within the last 3 months. So I'm going to put the calculation of what exactly that sell-through rate would be. That's not a good sell-through rate. Now, if that item sold for $1,000, sure, I'm going to pick it up. But those Izod shorts are selling for $10 when they finally sell, $6 when they finally sell, $10, $7.50, things like that. So that's not going to be a pickup. You're going to keep going. You're going to see other Izods. Now you don't have to look up those anymore. Firstly, I found these cool long cargo shorts in really good condition, and these are going to cost me $5. When I look up the sell-through rate for these, I actually just looked it up. I wanted to show you guys a good sell-through rate as well. So there are 20 listed. I just did the same thing that I did for all the other ones, searched up the cool cargo shorts, then I clicked sold right here. 40 have sold over the last 3 months. And that's a 200% sell-through rate. And look at what they're selling for, 34, 35, 27, 26. So I'm gonna, even one sold for 40, so I'm gonna price mine at 35 and accept offers all the way down to 30. That's it. That's day 2 of how to become a successful reseller that you can apply in any thrift store all across America that will help make you become a profitable reseller. We got 4 more parts of this series, so stick around because I got more to teach you guys about how to become a successful reseller. If you like lessons like this and found that helpful, follow for more. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay. This is part 3 of essentials you need if you are going to be a successful reseller. I'm gonna teach you guys everything you need to know about taking photos of items. I made videos about this before, but I'm gonna do a quick recap so you can know exactly how you need to take photos and how you can do it, whether you have the appropriate space to do it or not. Some people do get a little nervous when they think about taking photos. It's very simple. If you're taking photos of clothing, there's some specific lengths that you're gonna wanna get. If you're taking photos of items, then maybe just the height and width. If it's like a cookie jar or a plate, people are gonna wanna know those dimensions, how big or small an item is. With clothing, it's super easy. You take a picture of how long the item is. You're gonna wanna take any sleeve length or leg length, a la inseam. Especially on pants, you're gonna wanna take the rise as well, which is the top of the pant to the crotch. And then most of these jackets have chest measurements already, but you're gonna wanna double check that just to make sure that it's aligned with what the buyer is looking for. Now I'm doing this at my storage unit. Usually I need a white background, but if you don't have a white background, it's super easy. You can throw these photos into Photo Room or even Gemini or ChatGPT and ask them to clean up the background if you don't have those apps, and they will do it for you. But this is how you can take photos of items no matter where you are, basically, no matter what your circumstances are. Even if you only have a rug or a bed that you can take photos on and you don't like the way the background looks, you can still take great pictures by using some of the apps and resources that we have today. You're also going to want to get the material that the item is made out of if possible, the sizing obviously, and then because I'm not listing it immediately right now, I usually take a picture of the SKU that I'm going to store it at. You're also going to want to take any extra special features if the item has a good pattern or a emblem or logo. Also any flaws if it's cracked, torn, missing something that it's supposed to have. This ensures you the most success. This is the best way to avoid returns and provide happy customers. Follow for more reseller tips like this. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay. Welcome to Reseller 101. This is another way of how you can store your items. You can put them in totes, especially when you're first getting started, and label the totes. That's no big deal. That's exactly how I got started when I first started storing my items. I would put a tote here and I would either label the tote a letter, or when I really first got started, I would just be like Christmas items because I didn't have a ton of items, or I would say summer items or winter items, so that as I slowly started to build my inventory, they were just in those totes. But as I expanded and as I moved away from items and towards clothing, these long boxes that you can find on Amazon ended up working a lot better for me. This is what I think the best way to store items is, especially clothing. Everybody has their own systems. I throw it in the poly mailer that I will end up shipping it in, and you can see the item is in there. I don't use a clear poly mailer, and I know a lot of people are like, well, what if I ship the wrong thing? If you leave the bag open, you never have to worry about that. I never get a complaint about my shipping or that my items are not double packed or anything like that. But as far as storing items, this is a great way to go about that. Skew all of my inventory. I have about 1,200 items, and so my items, you can pretty much ignore the letters. This is when I had multiple letters here at my storage unit, but it's 369, 371, 370 sold, 373, 372 sold, and so on. So as things sell, in order to create more space in my empty boxes, I have to squish all of the packages, move them move the packages from here into the back of this box, and then do the same thing here. Move the back of those packages into this box until I have an empty box. I pull it, I throw it to the side, I move this box over, and I keep going. I don't label my boxes, I label my bags. Then by the time I'm at the end, I should have several boxes to fill up my new inventory that I just got. My new inventory is in these black trash bags right here. I picked them up from the folks that take photos for me. This is easily my least favorite part of reselling because it's so time consuming and it feels like it's not adding to my business, even though I know that it actually is. Just over the past 30 minutes or so, I've been able to clear out all of those shelves right there. And essentially that is all going to be new inventory once I get that inventory over there squished with some more empty boxes. Follow for more reseller tips and advice like this. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay. Welcome back to Reseller 101 Part 5. I am going to show you guys how to list and ship items. Both of these can seem overwhelming and stressful and scary, but neither of them actually are if you approach it the right way. So let's walk through that right way. Number one, you're going to download an eBay app and create an account. You have your photos logged, you've bought your items, you've mastered your aisle of the thrift store, you've taken your photos, they're ready to go, they're looking excellent. Now you're going to list your item, and it is super easy. In my opinion, the best, easiest, no hassle way to list an item without having to put too much extra thought in it. So most of the items that you are going to sell, unless you are like an antique, unique seller that is selling one-of-a-kind items that no one else in the world has, there are going to be other people online selling similar items to yours. So you're just going to click the search on the bottom of the app. In the top of that search bar, you're going to type the item that you are selling. It's going to bring you instantly to what else is active. Now, sometimes you're going to want to look through those very briefly to get a ballpark of what your item is currently selling for. All of those items are your competition. If you're selling clothes though, you're going to want to get more specific at this point, and you're going to look at size, and you're going to filter through size. Because if I'm a size 8 looking for a pair of shoes, I don't really care what a size 9 costs. I really only care what a size 8 costs. So once you filter by size, then you're also going to click sold items, and that's going to bring you the items that are sold. So right now I saw that there were 12 of these Coach flats listed, and it looks like 4 recently in this size have sold between $25 and $31. I'm going to ignore that $9.95 one because that person put an auction, and I never do auctions. So you're going to click on the one that is most similar to yours, and you're going to click sell similar. When you click that, then it's going to bring you to your own page. Now you're in the selling zone. Essentially, you're going to upload your photos, and now you're going to edit the details to specifically match your details. Now, a lot of them are already going to be filled in from this previously similarly sold item, which makes this the easiest way to upload your items to eBay for sale. Someone else has already done a lot of the work for you. So you're going to go through. This is very important. You're going to make sure, though, that all those details also match the details for your item. You're going to upload your photos. You're going to input what you estimate it to sell for. So it's the size of the item, the weight of the item. And we're going to talk about that in just a second. So if it's clothing, if you're selling pans, backpacks, what have you, household goods, you are going to want to weigh your item and have a slightly better estimate of the dimensions that's going to take for you to ship that item. Also input a custom SKU number so I know when this thing sells, eBay is going to show me and only me exactly where that item is in my inventory. Also, item description is not super important to me specifically. As long as the details are all in there, then the item description is just basically going to say that, but in words for someone whose brain thinks more like that. So I let AI write my item descriptions and I never look at them again. Usually in Nifty, they're going to add the keywords for me. So I also don't even need to worry about the keywords. It's another reason why Nifty is so amazing. But so right here, you can see me changing the weight to 0 pounds, 8 ounces. I have basically a under 1 pound items and I have above 1 pound items. Because I sell clothes, it's super simple, super easy. Light flats like this, they're going to be 8 ounces for me, 10, it could be 12. It's not going to matter much for me. You do what you feel comfortable with your business. I promote every single item basically at 2%, which is the lowest amount that you can get in the promoted algorithm, but not be spending extra unnecessary fees. And then you can list, and that's all that's to it. Sorry, I thought I was going to be able to get to shipping in this video, but I am so long-winded and I wanted to go over all the details with you guys. So I hope that was helpful. If you need that advice, follow for more tips like this. I got the shipping video coming out tomorrow for you all. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay. Welcome back to Reseller 101 Part 5.5, how to ship. When you're putting in your listing details, you already fill in how the dimensions of the item are and the weight. So when it comes to actually shipping the item and it sells, it's very simple. eBay carries that information over and you just click the item. Just make sure your return address is right. You're going to click the label and then you're going to choose the exact way you want to ship. Now, I almost 99% of the time, especially with clothing, ship USPS. But if you're shipping larger items, you may need to do UPS or FedEx. Those rates may be better. They'll literally tell you the rates that you can choose from right there. Always buy your labels here in the app and not at the post office. You're going to save significant percentage shipping it through eBay's portal as opposed to going to the front desk and getting a label through them. I got a couple more parts that I want to show you guys, so make sure you're following for the rest of the series. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay. This is what no one's going to tell you about sell-through rate. Now, yes, this is the last part of the series for Reseller 101, but this is so applicable to every reseller, new and old, because this is a different way to think about sell-through rate. And I feel like when people are talking about sell-through rates, this is not talked about enough. You can manipulate sell-through rate on almost any clothing item by doing a key few factors. Number one, making sure your pictures look on par or better than most of the pictures that you're seeing online. You want something that looks professional, not someone holding up a shirt or something that's really wrinkled or the proportions are all out of whack. By that simple adjustment, you are boosting your sell-through rate a little bit higher than whatever the sell-through rate is advertised. For instance, if there's 300 items listed and 150 have sold in the last 90 days, then instead of looking at a 50% sell-through rate, if your pictures are looking better than most others or as good as everyone else's, then you're looking at more like a 60% sell-through rate. You're also going to want to cross-list. I cross-list with Nifty. It's literally the best cross-lister there is out there. I've tried them all. There is no competition. And once they add Facebook Marketplace or Vinted, there will no longer be a discussion about it either. Nevertheless, if you have more than 350 items, you need to be using a cross-list like Nifty because that will also increase your sell-through rate. If you're looking at a 60% sell-through rate on eBay and you're cross-listing to Etsy, Poshmark, Depop, Mercari, you have just increased your sell-through rate exponentially because now your product is being seen across 4 other marketplaces. So your 60% sell-through rate really becomes a 65% sell-through rate. Keywords, good titles, things like that, which also Nifty will help you write if you want, also increases your sell-through rate. When I look up sell-through rate, I'm always looking at comps as well because that tells me what I need to price my item at. Putting it at the proper price will also increase your sell-through rate. Not the highest on the market, but also you don't want to be the lowest on the market either because you want to be able to accept offers. Lastly, and this is the one that particularly applies to clothing resellers, you're going to want to consider this season. This is one of the biggest things that resellers overlook. All winter long, I picked up Peter Millar Summer Comfort and Crown Crafted polos. And in January, February, and March, their sell-through rate was atrocious, around 30%. And in general, unless it's a really good return, I have no interest in picking up something with a 30% sell-through rate. But I picked up every single one I came across, and I even searched out lots in my Facebook marketplaces and local auctions to rack up and even pay a little bit more than I usually would. Because I knew that come summertime, that sell-through rate would be closer to 60 or 70% on some of those models and styles. So if you're looking at a really nice hoodie that you think does have a good sell-through rate and is worth picking up to resell, but it is July, most likely, you're not going to see an accurate depiction of what that item's sell-through rate is. That is why you must master one section at a time in the thrift store, because if you can understand the season and brands and styles that will sell during those particular seasons, then you can pick up those items out of season to still make a profit when no one else is looking in those areas. This is just one nuance that has helped erase the infamous seller summer slump, but also has made me just a smarter buyer and changes how I consider what I pick up and when I pick it up. So consider all of these factors when you're at a thrift store looking at a sell-through rate, because sometimes you might be able to manipulate a sell-through rate to the fact of finding some hidden gems that other resellers are walking straight by. Follow for more reseller tips like this. I guess one man's trash is another man's eBay.